So here's the old man that you see on the trail sitting in my living room and deciding to actually do my top 10 list. I've casually mentioned it a couple of times and thought, hey, why don't I actually put this together and see if I can come up with a list of my top 10 favorite hikes in the White Mountains. And it was just harder than I thought. It turns out that, so uh, I was, it's generally, I was looking through the 4,000 footers, which there's 48 of those, and the 52 of the view, so that makes 100. I think I actually had 126 different hikes that I was looking at. So not sure what else I included in that, but the 10 that I came up with are on one or the two lists, either the 4,000 footers or the 52 of the view. And this certainly is my list. My experiences had a lot to do with why these things were chosen. I'll welcome any comments if anybody wants to make them, and any arguments, that's certainly fine. Um, the the just coming up with these 10 was a difficult task. I think the first time I narrowed it down to 28, decided, well, my top 28 list just doesn't seem to have a good ring to it. So let me see if I can narrow it down to 10. And if I did it again today, who knows? I might choose a different 10. But I guess the good news is you probably can't go wrong with any of those hikes in the whites. But if you could only do 10, I strongly recommend these 10. And it's kind of a combination of things. It's not always just a single peak, and it's not always a specific trail to follow. But anyway, I'll cut this off here and get to the list. Welsh Dicky. This was one of our first hikes that we ever did up in the Whites. It's on the way as we drive up, so it's pretty convenient to do, and it's relatively short, but it really has the wow factor, I'll call it. You actually, and a lot of people actually just hike to the first view and then turn around. That's a fairly easy thing to do, but it just gives you a fantastic overview of what you're going to see once you get to the Whites. And then if you continue on, it gets slabby and challenging, and it's just wide open, and it's just really, really a great introduction to the Whites. There's somebody walking along the slabby area. Mount Jefferson. This is kind of um, I don't know, a variety of different hikes that we could do, but I think the Caps Ridge Trail is really really what caught my attention. And again, this is another one we did kind of early in our hiking up there, and the caps just each one is kind of like its own little challenge, so it keeps it really interesting on the hike up, and then you finally get to the top and you get this wide open pile of rocks with the views in all different directions. Like I said, there's a lot of different trails. We've kind of been over it and around it and near it several times by doing different hikes. And the area, once you get up to the top, the whole presidential range is just like a completely different world. And of course, it wasn't that. There's always more. Still, close in it. Just a couple more thousand rocks to hop. The bald faces. So this is actually, I guess, north and south. So there's two different peaks, and the name comes from they're bald. They're so once you get to the tops of the and between the two and everything else, once you get up high enough, the views are just again wide open. It's really can be really a tricky, challenging hike to get up there. You certainly want to do it in the clockwise direction, unless you're really up for a big challenge. And the uh, again, the views are wide open, and it's remote. It's in a different part of the Whites. It's actually pretty much right on the main border, so it's you get a different angle on things than what you get from many of the other hikes. Whatever. We'll stop here for a minute. Say hello. Mount Kerrigan. This is one that a lot of people keep this as their final hike that they're going to do when they're hiking the 4,000 footers, and for good reason. It's kind of considered the most central peak of the Whites, so you get to see a little bit of everything. It's actually got viewing tower once you get up to the top, so it's a great place to get your 360-degree view. As you saw in the opening clip there, and a little bit here, there's we caught it in almost perfect situation. There was a little bit of snow near the top, and you could see the presidentials all covered in snow, and it just one of those fantastic views. Uh, so I think that had partly to do with why I chose this as one of our top 10. the moats, north, south, and middle. And this we kind of discovered, I'd say, later in our hiking. It might have been part of when we started officially doing the 52 with a view, and it's actually become one of our favorites. It has so much going for it. It's again in a kind of a different spot. It's really close to North Conway, and you can see it from North Conway if you know what you're looking for. And the I guess the South Moat is the most popular. It's a fairly short hike, but definitely a challenge. So there's nothing easy about it, but the views just get really fantastic once you get up there. My personal favorite is actually north, and partly because I really like hiking up the Red Ridge Trail, and we get to hike by Diana's Baths, so you get that, and there's there's an area on that stream that feeds into Diana's Baths that we like to just kind of hang out at and watch the waterfalls and stick our feet in, and it's just yeah, again, another really beautiful views once you get up there, and the hike is interesting in several different places. All right, I gotta put it away for here. Here she comes. So I just had to walk around, figure out where the trail was. You come off the top like that, unless there's a sign, it's not all that obvious. And fortunately, I have an app that said I was. The Bonds, Bond, West Bond, and Bond Cliff. Bond Cliff is certainly my favorite, and that's where the iconic view is. No videos of this. This goes way back. We've only done it once. We'll have to get back again someday. Lots of stories about the trip. It was an overnight. It's really remote. It has this spectacular view that off of Bond Cliff that everybody has to get a picture of themselves on. And just the trip was very, very eventful. But it's a difficult, it's a long hike if you do the whole thing, somewhere in the 23-mile range or so. So you kind of need to do it either as a really long day or a multiple day thing. Um, and camping options are kind of limited. So again, it was someday maybe I'll do a video just on the things that happened while we were there. Probably the next time we do it, I'll relate a lot of those stories. Shokura, this one is probably beyond Washington is probably the most recognized mountain that you have in the Whites. If you're coming up into North Conway on Route 16, this is the first mountain that you see when you kind of get into the Whites, and it's very recognizable shape to it. It's one of those that's a really interesting hike up. There's a lot of different interesting terrain and stuff that you get to work your way through. It's a challenge. It's slabby once you get up to the top. Again, wide open once you get up there, so you get a lot of just different nice views. There's some waterfalls on the way up. Has a lot going for it. It does tend to get crowded at times, so you want to be a little careful about which days you might do it, but still very worth being on this list. Nothing like like it was up there. I thought it was going to blow me over. It is windy up here. It's the top. And, At the third tier, I guess. Up just a little bit further. Mostly a close-up of what I just... Webster Jackson. That's actually two different Webster and Jackson, two different peaks. This is one that, is probably one of the last ones I added, and I'm not sure it would have made it to the list until we hiked the Appalachian Trail hike, the Webster Cliffs Trail, I guess is what it's called, on the way up, and that was just such a glorious. Again, lots of different interesting things on the way, beautiful views in several different places on the way up. Some challenging spots, but the more popular route has you come from the other direction that just takes you up over Webster and then Jackson and back down and kind of do it as a little bit of a loop. But I strongly would recommend anybody, doing it up the Webster Cliffs Trail, and we actually did it with a 2-car situation where we went up the Webster Cliffs Trail and then down the Webster Jackson Trail back to the near where the main parking is for the loop hike. This is right near the junction of the Webster and the Jackson Trail on the way down. Eisenhower. So this is yet another one that I'm not sure if it would have made the list if it was just Eisenhower and if we hadn't done the hike that we did a couple of years back. Eisenhower certainly is a beautiful hike on its own, and you can just hike up the main trail to get there. Again, wide open views once you get up there, and it's kind of there's plenty that it offers on its own. And it's certainly challenging enough. But the hike we did, we went up and did that, and then we also walked up the other northern direction towards Monroe, and then back to Mount Pierce, which is south of Eisenhower. So we made it a long day, and it's just, again, once you're up on the presidential range, it's the whole thing is wide open. It's just yet another one of those. This is just such a different world up here that it makes it spectacular. Right there. Now we're gonna go past that to the little hump behind it, I think. lookout by Mount Pierce. Summit was just a little bit away. Took a few pictures there. There's no view there, but this is pretty awesome here. As I almost fell over. Washington right in the middle there, and then Eisenhower just to the left of that in the foreground. That's where we came from. The Franconia Ridge. Most people and any reviews of the area will have this as certainly in their top 10 and probably their number one hike of what you could hike once you're up in the presidential's area or the White Mountains, and it's certainly well deserved. The You start out, if you do the standard hike, you start out going by several different waterfalls, all pretty amazing, and then you finally get up to the ridge line, and you get to hike between Mount Haystacks to Lincoln to Lafayette, and that's all wide open all the way, and the views are spectacular, and we've actually done several other variations or things that we've combined this with some of the other mountains in the area, and every one of them is pretty nice. But the standard hike is certainly the best. You just get the best of the best when you're doing that. Remains of some kind of shelter up here. A little bit of the ski slopes on Mount Cannon. And again, that's where we came from. Garfield. So there you have it, my top 10 list. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more, leave me a comment. Anything else you might want to see. And in any case, I'm sure I'll come up with something else, and we'll probably be out hiking. Maybe we'll do some travel and pick up something else. So I'm sure in the not too distant future, I'll be dropping some more videos. So until then, enjoy yourself, and we'll catch you later.